We've got our top 10 most embarrassing
rookie mistakes
coming up right now.
Hey, everybody. This is Derek, and with me today is the only man to buy badger hair instead of human hair from Locks of Love for his head, Carl Mandrioli. How's that badger rat doing? Badger rat? Badger rug, sorry.
Welcome to the Backpacking Blunders podcast, everybody. With me today is Derek Somerville. He's a man that hates making spelling mistakes because he'll mix up just 2 letters, and his whole email is urine.
Wow. Urine.
Because you mixed up the letters.
Got it. Urine. That's good.
Yeah. Okay.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, it's huge.
Right.
Top 10.
Better than badger hair. Better than that.
Is it? I don't know.
It is. All right. We got our most embarrassing rookie mistakes. I don't think we've even covered all these in our shows. We're pretty, I don't know, we're pretty good about sharing all the stuff that we do. That's kind of what our show's about, right?
I guarantee I already know what's on your list. One of them.
Well, first, there's going to be a couple that for sure you know. There's definitely at least one that not only do you not know, you might have forgotten about altogether.
Spoiler, guys, there's one about a sleeping mat probably on there.
Is there?
For sure there is.
You think that makes the top 10?
Top 3.
Okay.
Top 3.
I think, dude, people forget gear all the time. That's what Derek's referring to. I don't think that's the issue. So we'll get to that here in a little bit. Good. But we've got a Bible verse of the episode, Proverbs 14:15. The simple believes everything, but the prudent gives thought to his steps. When it comes to backpacking related decisions, are you more prudent, Derek, or are you more simple-minded?
I say if you have a scale 1 to 10, prudent being 10, I want to say I'm like, I don't know, 6, 7.
Okay.
6, 7. I think that's fair.
My list might suggest otherwise.
Well, mine might suggest otherwise for you as well.
I didn't say that I was prudent. I didn't say that.
What would you say? What are you? How do you view yourself?
Backtrack. I
like a 9, 10?
That I'm on the rise, but if you look at years past, I think I'm probably more simple-minded.
Well,
especially early on, like first 5 years when there wasn't a lot of resources out there and I was trying to figure it out on my own. I don't know that there was a whole lot of good stuff going on there.
I think my first couple trips was at least like a 2.
Yeah. Well,
minimum.
And that's how it goes. But we have all these resources. We got podcasts, we got YouTube channels. So people that start out nowadays have an advantage. So
we didn't have all this. We had to wing it, Carl.
There's no excuse for them now, right?
When I was their age, it's the whole thing. Right. We had to fight for it. Here we are. We're finally at the top.
Yeah.
We made it.
So I came up with some mistakes that I made early on, pre-Derek, that I don't even know if you're aware about.
I got one on my list.
Okay.
But share what you got.
We'll see. I'll share afterwards. So they won't make the top 10, but there'll be additional mistakes just so people know that, maybe it'll make them feel better about their mistakes. Maybe it'll prevent them from making mistakes. Maybe it'll provide them joy that they can make fun of us, whatever.
I want to know if you have, I'm curious. I don't know if I should mention. Well, I'm curious. I'm going to predict you have the fanny pack one on there.
Okay.
But I don't know. Is that a mistake or is that pretty awesome?
Yeah. You want to. So here's what Derek's doing is Derek is already feeling a little bit embarrassed about some of the mistakes that I might have.
Embarrassed? We've talked about this ad nauseum.
I know, but you're trying to pre-defend yourself, even though we haven't talked about the list.
I think you don't know the difference between a mistake and something, let's say, innovative. Let's say, legendary, dare I say.
All right. So here's our structure so Derek came up with his top 5 mistakes that I've made, from his perspective. And I did the same for him. And so that's kind of what we're referring to is he's wondering what's on my list. I don't care what's on his list because I know that I've made a lot of mistakes. So have at it, man.
Oh, I've made
you want to pre-defend yourself. If you got some self-esteem issues, too bad.
Self-esteem. No, bring it. Please tell me all.
I have a feeling I think you've got the number 1 overall mistake. So I'm going to go first.
You think I have the number 1 overall?
On your list for me.
Oh, okay.
I'll start is all I'm trying to say.
Okay, sure.
I got number 10. All right.
Here we go.
Okay. This is the one I think you forgot. We were in Glacier National Park and it was day 1 and we took a side trail off of the main trail. We were going to our camp. We're not too far from camp, but we took a side trail to visit this epic waterfall. And guys went swimming.
Did I not go?
No, you went swimming, jumping off rocks. We actually got some really cool video footage of this to show that. It was awesome. But the side trail was off the main trail. So we all, get out of the water, hike back up to the main trail. We're ready to go. Derek's not the last one up. There's like a couple guys behind him, and he left something on the rocks down by the river.
Trekking poles.
No.
Wasn't trekking poles? That's usually what it is.
Well, that's common, man. You leave trekking poles. Usually you're like remembering to go back and get them. You're not going to travel that far without them.
What did I leave?
No, he left his wet, soggy underwear on a rock. And one of the other guys had to carry his underwear up to Derek.
That was a friend test, and they passed it. That was good.
Exactly. Yeah, you can't own it. You got to say that you intentionally did that.
I didn't. I didn't intentionally.
Leaving your underwear on the trails.
How do you leave your underwear, Derek? Like what? How do you walk away up the trail and not realize you got your chonies on the trail? Like I don't understand what I was thinking there. Maybe I was just so cold.
I mean, it wasn't that far up the trail, but even with that short distance, there could be some chafage that was happening there.
It's possible. Yeah. It has happened before.
All right. So that's number 10.
That's pretty good.
What's my least worst mistake?
My number 9 is I'm gonna just start simple. Leave now. I could have had this be 5, 4, 3, 2, but I'm gonna lump them together where you kind of left drink mix on the trail.
Okay, so you're piggybacking with drink mix, is what you're saying.
I'm going bit drink mix. You left on the trail. I found it more than one occasion, and
nice.
That's
Can you
more than
explain
one.
why? Okay, so we're pulling things out at like a rest stop or whatever, and we're maybe we're filtering water. I'm adding drink mix. I've got my little drink mix bag with some Gatorade or lemonade or whatever it is.
Of course.
And I accidentally leave it there, and you feel like that's super embarrassing.
I think that's embarrassing for you because I think it's piggybacking off this is after I had forgotten like a permit before. I think it was the same trip.
Yeah. So
same trip.
Yeah. You didn't forget a permit. You put a permit. Actually, I should have this on the list. You're helping me out here.
Yes.
It's not on the list. But no, you were in charge of carrying the permit, and I don't know how you tucked it into like one of your side pockets, but as we're hiking, it literally fluttered off of your backpack onto the trail. I was like, did that just really happen? Is this some magical experience?
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I thought we had 2 permits, or was it just one?
No, you don't.
Okay, because we were looking for the permit in Rocky's
We had the
car?
same, yeah. Good call.
For
We've
like
had
an
multiple
hour?
permit issues where we lose it. One time it was in my car, and somebody grabbed it, and it got stuffed under the passenger seat. So
how does that happen? How does that?
Well, I took responsibility for it because I should be responsible for the permit, but somebody else somehow got a hold of it and then was like, I'll take care of this for you by hiding it under the passenger
shoving it
seat.
under the seat. Yeah,
I remember that. But either way,
that was unfortunate. Flew out of my pack.
The reason why I think you thought the drink mix was a big deal is because that was like in defense against self-esteem issues of the fact that you had already dropped the permit.
It wasn't self-esteem issues. It's more like, look at yourself before you, mock me. Because we all
did that first.
Oh, what was that?
You did that first. Okay.
Sounds very self-esteem issue-y.
Let's say, you said look at yourself first, but you're the one that made the mistake first. Let's say that you leave the permit. You're the last one in the group. Let's say I leave the drink mix. I'm the last one in the group. We've both littered. What's the bigger deal?
I'm just trying to keep it a level playing field. Okay. We're starting off level playing field.
Drink mix and
because the drink mix really it stems from the mockery that I would get like before all the permit and drink mixy stuff would happen. I had been mocked for, oh, hey, what's this rapper on the trail? Hey, there's this other rapper on the, like I had dropped a few rappers. It was like ad nauseum mockery from you.
I think you're making up stuff.
When you had, no, that's true. And when you had dropped, it was like Power Bar, not Snickers, obviously, but other Power Bar, energy bars. And so when you finally dropped something on the trail, I was like, oh, this is golden. This is so magical. Okay. Like the great one has finally dropped something. So it felt good.
Not the great one.
It felt good.
As this list will show.
It felt good. All right. What's your number 8? Number 8.
Okay. So this is the one you were alluding to. This is pretty far down the list. It's not that you forgot your sleeping pad in Olympic National Park. It's not that. It's that you forgot the sleeping pad and then you pretended to have brought it and then blamed the shuttle driver that it flew out of the trailer. That's the issue, is that you couldn't take ownership of forgetting it. And evidence later on in later podcast episodes proved without a shadow of doubt,
incorrect,
beyond a reasonable doubt, that what I'm saying is true.
Incorrect. You are creating a story that seems like you're creating your own fictional story where like, this is the truth. And I have proof. That's not proof, but I'm going to say it's proof.
So
and
much
this is really what happened.
So much evidence.
Even though our own shuttle driver said, like, yeah, I mean, like, first of all,
what did he say? I interviewed him after the fact. He's like, that's never happened.
So let me get this straight. You want me to believe, and all of the B&B family to believe, the guy who regularly saw Bigfoot also claims that my stuff didn't fly out of his back of his trailer. Is that right?
That's a funny question.
Okay.
I like that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay. I think that
is not
over
true.
We've mentioned this a number of times over the years. It's almost as famous as your buying the backpack story from REI. Almost as famous as that one.
That's a good story, though.
That's a great story. But people, anytime we have a disagreement, some people come to your defense, some people come to my defense. It's just how it goes. With this story, nobody's ever come to your defense on this one. Nobody believes you.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter because I know what true is. And you have convinced these people of a lie. You're the fake media of B&B.
Nobody believes me for anything. There's like the evidence.
What do I care if I lost it or not? The same
You're
trip.
about everything on my list. You're like, I don't care. Like, I that's just who I am. And
was it? No.
People are dumb for thinking otherwise.
The permit was all me. The permit was my bad. I should have secured it and put it in the brain of the pack or in like the front zipper.
Maybe.
Anyway,
that's my number 8. What's your number 7?
My next one was you forgot. See, this is it's funny that we're putting these at the same level on our list. Yours was forgetting your pillow. You forgot your pillow one trip. Yeah. What'd you do?
Same trip.
Yeah, same trip.
What's interesting about that? I just forgot the
Think
pillow.
about the mockery that I've received for a pad that I allegedly forgot.
Yeah.
But didn't forget.
I didn't say that it flew out of a trailer, though.
You still forgot it.
Is it forget or is it...
make mine so much worse?
I didn't forget it at home. I left it in the rental van. Like, I found it when we got back. And so my excuse, you can suggest is a good excuse or not, is that we show up to the trailhead and that same shuttle driver, Bill, he's yapping at me nonstop as we're trying to put our stuff together.
So it's Bill's fault.
I'm just telling you what happened.
Okay.
Yeah. I still should have double checked. I also left the map as well. We had another map, so that didn't matter as much, but I also left my personal map in that same van.
Okay. Yeah. Question. You have everything pre-packed, I assume, when you get on the plane or when you get in the car to drive over or another plane. Right. Why is your, of all things, the map I can understand.
Yeah.
But why?
No, the pillow came out with the map.
Why are they out of your pack? What are you doing?
So I unzipped the brain of the pack to pull the map out, and that's where I'd stored my pillow for whatever reason. And so as I'm pulling stuff out, I'm doing it quickly because we're behind. We showed up like 45 minutes late to the shuttle driver. We were hoping he was still going to be there. And in my haste, I wasn't paying attention and the pillow fell out.
Why did you need the map?
We were trying to confirm
GPS
because when we saw the shuttle driver and we saw his van, we're like, we need to make sure that we're going to the right place.
Okay, that's fair. Okay, that's fair. I just want to make sure. It's a little weird. Okay,
all right.
Go ahead.
If that's the best you got for number 7, I'll take it, man.
Take it. You got it.
Okay. Good. Number 6. You've been on 2 Patreon backpacking trips.
Ooh.
The Patreon folks view you as this legend of the trail.
I don't know. I don't know if that's true.
Well, that's how they view you.
Okay. That's very kind. Very kind of them.
Okay. So we show up to the trailhead and there's multiple access points to this Needles district of Canyonlands. I just emailed, make sure I said, not Needles district, multiple access points to Canyonlands in general. One of them is the Needles district. So I just had emailed as part of the deal, like we're meeting in the Needles district, and one vehicle did not abide by that. And so they went to a different trailhead. Like we'd all camped out the night before, different spot. So they're like, they figured it out eventually, but they're like 2 hours behind. This is Camel Cut and Tupperware Mike, by the way. And so
I love that you name them.
I think they like that story. That's part of their top 10 list.
I'm sure.
Anyway, so we're waiting around, but we have like the majority of the guys. And so I feel obligated to wait for them, make sure they make it, make sure they know which direction to go. You've got the map. Derek's leading the way.
I went the wrong way at the trailhead.
You're just wrecking my story. I'm
going to own it. I went the wrong way. We realized it. We turned back.
There's like a beginning, a middle, and an end. I'm setting it up. I'm getting to the climax. You're like, I'm going to give it away.
Here we go.
I'm just telling you. This is what happened.
Good.
Let me tell my story.
I'm glad this is it because my next
They catch up not too long after. We pack our gear. We hike to the next junction. At the next junction, we're supposed to go left. And then coming from the right is Derek and the majority of the group. And they're all giving me a look like, we don't know where he's taking us.
Yeah, we don't know. I've never been there. And to be fair, that
Even
park...
map, it's just 2 ways to go.
Dude,
it's
no,
really clear.
That park, first of all, you've been there multiple times. And you're just throwing me into the wind. Second of all, those map trailhead markers were not the best.
I've never gotten lost there.
Well, you've been there how many times?
You got lost first junction.
You've been there how many times?
Exactly. I'm telling you, the first time I went there, I didn't even know like what to expect or anything, and we didn't get lost. So
well, you're a legend then. I mean,
I'm not. It's just
what can I say?
Navigation, basic. That's why it's embarrassing for you. Don't deflect. Just own it. Just own
it. I already said I got lost. Speaking of which, my next one is about when we
number 5.
Number 5. When we were at Red Peak Pass descent. And we had this really awkward stream crossing. The trail got all muddled. And then I found the trail and I continued to go down the trail. I'm like, this is it. We're going the right way. This is it. Mm-hmm. And then I'm like, man, I'm like really far ahead of everybody. Like maybe I'm just cruising. I'm
feeling fast right now.
I'm feeling it. Let's go. And then I think it was Jared or Eric came behind me like, Derek, you got to come back. This is the wrong way, dude. Carl says that's the wrong way. Like, you got to come back. I'm like, dude, this is the right way. It's on the map. I'm looking at it right now.
Oh my gosh.
No, it's the wrong way. Carl says it's the wrong. I go all the way back. It was like a good quarter mile.
Yeah.
I go back.
And I think it's longer than that, man. I think it's like half a mile.
Maybe it's a half mile. And you guys are all still there and I'm like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's the wrong way. And I'm like, no, it's not. We sat there and bickered for like, I don't know. And then the
reason why is because we were supposed to cross a stream, and then at the stream crossing, there's a junction to the left, and there were like legit trails that went to the left, but they were just campground trails.
Yeah. And you're like, oh, yeah, that was the right trail. Yeah. So I guess theoretically hiked further than everybody that trip. Right?
Good job, man.
A half mile.
So your complaint is that I navigated poorly.
You did not trust your companions for directional advice.
Which is fair based on my previous story. So I think that is legit.
So leveling the point.
So we can't trust each other basically.
No, pretty much.
Okay, no, you're right. That was embarrassing. Here's the deal: is we were a lot farther away from the junction. I want to say like maybe even 2 miles away than I thought, which is I'm pretty good at
2 miles.
Estimating yeah. And because Rock and I just did that same trip, obviously we did that in one day, the Red Peak Pass loop this past August, and we hit that same spot. And I was like mentally noting, I'm like, I remember this is the spot where I misled everybody, and we're still a ways away. And even knowing that, it still took a really long time to get to the actual junction. I was like, this feels longer than what the map says, basically.
I feel like that whole Red Peak Pass trail is longer than what the map says.
So basically between 2 junctions where you go up the pass, over the pass, down to the other side to the following junction, it's a 12-mile segment, but it feels like 15.
Yes, that's
so
100%.
All right, I'll own that one. I think that was still bad on my part. So there you go.
You're welcome.
Number 4, this one. So Derek is really good about packing light. He doesn't bring any unnecessary items for the most part. I mean, you could make the case that his pajama bottoms are unnecessary.
I have my luxuries. I have a couple luxury items.
Yeah, okay. I think it's fair. Luxury items, whatever, comfort, whatever. But there's one item that he brought or that he brings. I don't know if it's past tense yet, which is not, I wouldn't even call it a luxury item. I just call it a useless item.
I know what you're going to wait, let me predict. You're going to talk about
you just want to ruin it every time. You can't handle
the miniature water bottle?
You literally can't handle this episode.
Is this a miniature toothbrush water bottle?
See? Rather than just pouring water out of his water bottle, he brought a separate squeeze bottle to squeeze water on his toothbrush to clean it off.
Yeah, because here's my thought behind that, and I don't bring it anymore. My only thought with that was because now I bring the actual sport bottles. Before I did not bring those.
You brought the Nalgene's.
I didn't bring them. I think I brought the Nalgene's once.
Okay.
And I had the bladder most of the time. So I realized, because I kept having, brush your teeth, you get all the junk on the toothbrush. I'm like, I don't want to pack it like this. Right. And so I'd have to go get the bladder and I'd have to like squeeze the tip and like trying to get the toothbrush clean. I'm like, I'm not doing this anymore. And so I think for a couple of years, I brought that little squeeze bottle because I'm like, I'll just save my water and this will be easy, like, and then I'm done. Yeah. And you thought that was the most ridiculous thing in the world.
Well, based on who you are and based on the fact that you don't bring extraneous things, it doesn't weigh anything. It's more of like a clutter issue than a weight
It wasn't
issue.
the best item to bring. And I agree with that. I think I was still finding my way in the sense of like, I strayed from the bladders and went more sport bodily, and that kind of easily solved the problem. So,
all right. Well, congratulations on upgrading, but in the meantime,
huge.
embarrassing.
No, whatever. It's fine.
All right. So that's my number 4. What's number 3?
This is an old one, pre-me, but you've mentioned this before. We have to mention it again, where you got a little cocky on Yosemite, slipped and fell into the water, and almost killed yourself because you're like, I'm Carl Man, really?
I get cocky. What are you talking about?
And slipped over, and you had to get choppered out. You had to get choppered out because you fell into the river and almost killed yourself. How did you?
Oh my god!
I'm gonna have my nuts and berries over here next to the cliff, and
slippity
doo dah you go.
Went down at all.
That's basically what happened.
I was super.
Did you almost kill yourself? Did you almost kill yourself?
Oh yeah, 100%. I should have died that day. 100%.
There you exactly. Yeah.
But it's not because I was like arrogant. That was my second. I hadn't even gone backpacking at that point. That was my second. I don't think that's my second like major hiking trip. And
who was leading that trip?
I was with people that were way more experienced, and they took their shoes off and went down the slick granite towards the waterfall. And we're like, we're going to go have lunch over here. And I was like, all right, I'm just going to follow along. You guys know better than me. And so I did, and slipped and slid into Yosemite Falls, like between, there's like 3 major drops. It was between drop 2 and drop 3. And then I flowed down the stream towards the third and the big drop, and got stuck in the water for a while.
Jeez.
We told that story of the podcast once or twice, but it's been a while. I don't want to go into it, but you're right. That's
embarrassing to a degree. Yeah.
I will say that the helicopter bill was not $60,000 like Dixie had earlier this year.
What did you pay for that? Did you pay for it?
I was so young. I was 19 years old, so my parents covered the cost, and I want to say it was like hundreds of dollars.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Yep. So interesting. I've got some other ones from pre-Derek that
I'm sure you did.
They might not make the list, but yeah, that's funny you brought that one up.
Yeah.
Okay, so you already mentioned the fanny pack one. That's my number 2 overall top 10 mistakes.
Fanny pack.
I know that it's your first trip, so I get that. So I'm going to try to like look at this objectively. So if I invite somebody, not you, but somebody, and I'm like, hey, we're going to do like a cycling trip or whatever.
A cycling
We're going to go biking. We're going to go mountain biking. And you're like, great, I'm in. And you bring a skateboard or a scooter.
It's not, that's not even the same thing.
Right.
It's not the same thing.
100. Correct. I need to say no more.
It's not a good comparison, is what I'm saying.
It's not a good comparison. And a backpack, not even close to the same thing.
First of all, the fanny pack was the top of the backpack. And I'm like, we're only going for like 2 nights. Right. I think I could get away with like.
Actually, I don't think I knew that. I don't think I knew that the fanny pack was top of the backpack.
Yeah,
are you adding on? Is this like revisionist history here?
No, that was the brain of my old black and yellow backpack.
Okay, I did not know that.
So it's an oversized fanny pack. It looked more ridiculous than a regular fanny pack. And I thought to myself, like, I don't want to bring this whole big backpack. I bet I could get away with just the fanny pack.
Yeah,
So it was intentional.
No, for sure. And realistically, if you're like, if other people can carry the group gear, then I can get away with this.
Yeah, exactly.
I can just simply lean on other people to do all the work.
Let me be as selfish as I possibly can.
Correct.
Hey, let me ask you, because I don't even remember this. Where did I carry my sleeping bag, which was a giant green?
Strapped it to the bottom. It was like banging on your legs as you're hiking.
That is so dumb. Okay, that's dumb. That's what you should have brought up, because I'm like, first of
all, it's not a backpacking trip sleeping bag. It's the ones you roll up that have like the flannel inside.
Flannel. It is so bad. That was the chunkiest piece of junk. And then I brought that on the Red Peak Pass trip. And then I was like, I think Knowlton ended up carrying it like the last day, because I'm like, I got too much junk. I can't walk.
And you're good at that. You're good at getting other people to carry your gear.
No, I felt so bad.
No, you literally just did it on our last trip. You literally did that.
What
you carried the group gear, your group gear, for a day and a half out of the 4 days.
And then what happened?
Then you put it in my pack.
Yeah, exactly. That was more of a prank, though.
2 pounds in my pack, and I felt bad for you, and so I carried it.
You felt bad for me.
Yeah, because you were having a hard time, and
I was not having a hard time.
And why'd you put it in my pack?
Why did you try to put a rock in your own pack? I don't know.
Unrelated.
Unrelated?
Yeah.
You like things in your pack. I like to put things in your pack.
you like things pack. On a backpacking trip, I do like things in my pack. That's fair.
Things that don't belong there.
Okay, what's the number one, Derek? What's number one most embarrassing thing that either of us have done? What you got?
Number one, without question, was planning the FKT before our July trip, which on air, I said was a horrible idea, and you did it anyway, and ended up having to call SAR. And you also
not because of when it was planned. That's a separate issue.
And you also couldn't do the trip, which is embarrassing in itself, or it's kind of pathetic. But it was like all these injuries, all this junk happened. I'm like, this would have never happened. That would never happen.
Okay.
Again, ignoring the wise wisdom of your friend.
All right. That's fair.
That is fair. You're like, you don't think it's a good idea? You think we can do it?
Here's the reason. Here's the reason why I did it. It was because we wanted to do these 2 big adventures in the same summer.
I get it.
But both of them were happening in California. And so I didn't want to buy 2 plane. I actually probably didn't mind buying 2 plane tickets, but not everybody wanted to buy 2 plane tickets, right?
This is proving my point, though. I get all that, and I agree with all that. That it's very continuous to do it that way, correct?
Yeah.
Why did you ask me if I thought it was a good idea? If you already knew you're going to do it anyway.
I don't remember. Wait. I asked
awkward
you
pause?
if I
keep this awkward pause in place. This is great.
I'm trying to think if I okay. Well, I'm trying to think. You're remembering this better than me. So I asked you if it was a good idea, and you said no.
You're like, do you think we should do? Do you think it's a good idea if we do this FKT? I mean, before the trip, we should have enough time to finish it. Blah blah blah.
Right.
On air, and I was like, you know what? I don't think it's a good idea because I think you guys are gonna be wiped after, and then it could potentially affect our trip.
Right.
I wasn't even thinking about search and rescue, but that was just a
the search and rescue thing, that was because I got injured and I couldn't do it. But I'm trying to think, would you how would you have done it differently? If you're like, I want to do these 2, it's a big deal, both are a big deal. Like, would you just say, like, for somebody who's not gonna be able to afford 2 plane tickets, like, just pick one, basically?
I think you have to carve out more time then.
Yeah. Like, have a day.
Like, could you just pick, hey, I'm gonna go to like Cali for like 5-6 days instead of trying to jam it in 4. I don't know.
You're right. All right.
Because the FKT, that was like your first big attempt, right?
I remember. I mean, we'd done one the previous year, but not something this.
That was aggressive. A bigger scale.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Like, to be honest, I would chalk that up to like people pleaser, Carl, because I probably would have been willing to make 2 separate trips, but I was sensitive to the fact that not everybody could afford that. Right. I mean, I'm probably overly sensitive to that. And sometimes I just need to be like, all right, if you can't make it, you can't make it, but this is the better situation.
Yeah.
So I think that the people pleasing in me is kind of what gets me into the most trouble. So
I would agree with that. I'm glad you realized that.
Fair enough. All right.
What is the biggest mistake of all that I've made?
Well, that was my number 2. That was a fanny pack.
Yeah, but didn't you have one more? What was it? That was your 5th one. That was your 5th one.
I have more that are for me. These aren't.
Let's hear your off list ones.
Yeah, these are not top 10, but these are other mistakes I made. I think that I made all of these my first backpacking trip. Okay. So the first one was somebody got me for like Christmas or something, a water filter. It was one of those like old pure water filters. And one of the trip leader was like, I don't have a water filter. And I was like, I got one. I can bring the water filter. But I didn't really know how to use it. And so we're on the trip and there's like a little foam floaty thing, which allows the tube to go underwater.
Right.
And then the tube had like a covering so that it wouldn't suck in like rocks and grit and stuff.
Right.
But we thought that the foam floaty thing was supposed to go over the hole. And so we're trying to suck the water through the foam. And so we're just there for like hours trying to get 1 liter out of it until we figured it out. But
it's pretty bad.
I just didn't know, test your gear out. So that's a rookie mistake there. I brought a full-size deodorant on that trip.
Ooh, really?
I think with like a toiletry bag.
Now you don't bring any.
I bring some now. Depends on who's going.
Like a travel size?
I bring travel size, but it depends on who's going.
What do you mean depends on who's? Like if I'm going, do you bring it?
Like if it's just dudes going that I'm comfortable with, I may not bring it. Or if it's like a trip where we're going like really like high mileage, high elevation gain, I'm looking to shave weight, I might ditch it.
Did you bring it to Banff?
Yeah.
Thank you.
You would be able to know otherwise.
Appreciate it.
This one, I don't know if this is my fault. I'm the new guy. I'm going with somebody who I think is really experienced. Our first camp on our first trip, which happened to be in Yosemite, as we're hiking into camp, there are 3 bears where we're camping.
Really?
We have to like shoo them out of our campground so we can camp there.
That's amazing.
So we know that there's gonna be bears at night, and the guy's like, we got to hang our food. So the way that he hung it, he had like a rock climber's rope. He strung it between 2 trees. He had the food bag We had 3 food bags, one in the middle, one on one tree, one on the other tree, and our tent was under the food bag in the middle.
Wow. Seriously?
Yeah.
That's so wow.
I know. In retrospect, it's like terrible. So we woke up in the
great.
middle of the night. The bear's like chomping on one of the food bags on the tree. Gets the food bag on the other tree. We have like just hardly enough food left for the rest of the trip. So we had like a ration.
Sounds like a really fun trip. I'm jealous.
It wasn't like I didn't realize I was like, whatever, 18 years old, 19 years old, whatever. So there you go.
Good job. You surrounded yourself with some good people right away.
Well, and that was my last one, was that because we didn't have a lot of people to choose from, we just invited anyone who's willing to go. And I think that's a rookie mistake. You don't invite people that are you're gonna enjoy, that are not going to be, making these mistakes we just suggested.
You got to find people. It's hard to do. How do you handle conflict? And what are they like in a conflict scenario? Or like what am I looking for? Like a problem scenario? Is that what I'm trying to say?
There's that. There's also people that you want to have your back. So if the poop hits the fan, you want to have people that are going to be there to support you. And I feel like American culture, and probably a lot of cultures around the world, are built on that, on supporting and having, whether it's your family or friends' backs. But in recent years, I've learned that is not necessarily the case. Like there's been a lot of folks that I was intertwined with either at work or socially, where I realize now that I'm like, whoa, like they're people that if things are going bad, like they're going to run away.
Yeah.
So
fall apart.
Yeah. And you don't know that until that relationship gets put to the test, right?
I will say, of all of our drama or whatever you want to call our things we go through and talk about and get each other a hard time about, I will say that is one thing I appreciate about you, is that we both, I feel like, handle a problem scenario well. Like we're not going to fall apart and melt down.
No. We've had a number of them.
So I appreciate that about you.
Yeah, I trust that in you. And I trust that in our buddy Rocky and some of the other guys on the trip. So anyway, we've got Blunder trivia coming up right after this. All right, man. So this is according to the Trek, which is like a pretty big time online resource.
The Trek.
Blunder trivia, the Trek. Okay.
Okay.
Number 1, beginning backpackers commonly don't do this enough. A, eat and drink. B, take rest breaks. C, look at the map. Or D, sleeping bag steamroll others.
Sleeping bag steamroll others. No. I think that is it multiple? Can I do all of the above?
There's one right answer. According to the Trek, anyways, one right answer.
According to the Trek.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say
you're gonna figure this one out.
Let's see. You got eat and drink, map. What was the third one?
Take rest breaks.
Take rest breaks. I'm gonna say eat and drink.
Eat and drink is correct.
Say eat and drink. I think it's you get the dehydration, the low blood sugar going on,
right?
And they think I'll just power through and eat later.
For sure.
But I think snacking and drinking along the way is where it's at.
Yeah. And I think when Derek's on the trip, sleeping bag steamrolling others is excessive. I think it's kind of out of control, to be honest.
Awesome. It's awesome.
All right, number 2.
You did it more than I did last trip, so.
Well, I just kind of preemptive strikes. Number 2, beginning backpackers commonly don't use this piece of gear correctly. Is it A, sleeping pad, B, trekking poles, C, stove, or D, toothbrush squeeze bottles?
Well, toothbrush squeeze bottles is a great answer. I'm going to go with, I feel this is correct. Not the stove. How do you mess up the stove?
Early on, like the stoves were a little more complicated. We had to prime them and stuff, and I had to learn how to use one. But this is modern day.
No. What was the first one? The first one, I think the first one.
Sleeping pad.
Sleeping pad. And the second one was
trekking poles.
I'm going to say trekking poles.
Trekking poles is correct.
Yeah.
So they're specifically talking about not using the straps on the poles to kind of like lean your weight onto them as like a source of power.
Right.
Like just putting your hands on the poles without the straps, essentially.
Right.
All right.
I'm guilty
of
that, man. I'm guilty of that.
Yeah. Sure. Number 3, which of the following is not a commonly forgotten piece of gear? Not a commonly forgotten piece of gear.
Sleeping pad?
According to the Trek. All right. So I don't think. Not
you.
me. This is according to the Trek. And so some of these things were surprised on the list, but this is what they said.
It's probably still sleeping pad.
It's not sleeping pad. A, headphones. B, nail clippers. C, stove. Or D, tweezers.
Which one's
not a commonly forgotten piece of gear?
Okay, we got it's not headphones. Tweezers? Go through them one more time. Second and third one.
Stove, nail clippers.
Ooh, not nail clippers. I kind of want to say it's either stove, not a common piece. I'm going to say tweezers.
All right. Yeah, tweezers is a commonly forgotten piece of gear. It is the stove. People don't usually forget the stove.
Okay. Well,
yeah, so
I thought the tweezers came in the first aid kit. You're good
yeah,
to go.
that's something that I actually don't forget, which I've never forgotten the tweezers. They're part of my first aid kit. I don't think I have nail clippers or headphones. So I don't know why that's even on the list, but
yeah,
I know why nail clippers are on the list. I don't know why the headphones has to be on the list, but you got 2 out of 3 pass. You're good. You're good.
Yeah, I'm not worried. It's fine.
Okay.
It's good.
I got one tidbit for you.
Ooh, please.
All right. So, Patreon, if you want to help keep our show going, if you want ad-free content, if you want bonus episodes, bonus segments from our best guests as they come out, please consider joining the Patreon family.
Yes. Do it.
That's all I got, my friend.
That's all I got. That was good. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Blunder away as we do. We do it plenty. We all do it. That's why we love to get out there and do it more. I'm sure we'll have more next season to talk about. I have no doubt. We will see you next time, guys. Remember, if you need some trash left on the trail, Carl and I will find it for you, and we will mock you for it later. We'll see you next time.